My name is Freeman. How many of you aren't sure whether or not you want to vaccinate your children? Do you know the details? Do you know what occurs? Do you know what they prevent, or if they actually prevent anything? It's common knowledge that vaccines prevent certain diseases. Some people seem adamant on questioning this and using fraudulent research as evidence to shy away from having their children vaccinated. Although there is almost always an exception, a majority of people will be protected, saying, oh, there's still a chance, it's just like getting into your car every day. There's still a chance that you could get in a car accident. There will always be a chance of an accident. Or even if you're just stepping outside, there's a chance a meteor will strike you down. It's highly unlikely, but there's still a chance. You see the connection? Vaccination began as a public health practice in 1796, when Dr. Edward Jenner developed a vaccine for smallpox. The vaccine was created from the cowpox virus, a disease similar to smallpox, but only infected cows. So we have been vaccinating for a long time. Studies show that once certain vaccines become available, these diseases were eventually eradicated. Wouldn't you rather know your child is the most protected that they can be? Studies started popping up about the mercury in the MMR vaccine that could possibly cause autism. Thankfully, the truth about MMR vaccine was uncovered. In 1998, British doctor Andrew Wakefield published his studies on how the MMR vaccine was linked to autism. In 2004, he had been thoroughly discredited, but unfortunately, the paranoia and fear had already taken toll of the general public. The immense impact of the overall health of the public showed an intense increase in reported cases of measles. In January of 2011, the British Medical Journal deemed Wakefield's work an elaborate fraud. An editorial was later published in the journal about how this man's fraudulent work was adversely pulling attention, funds, and emotional aspects away from finding out what truly caused autism and how to help people dealing with it. Most vaccines are so old that a lot of people are not exactly sure what the disease is that is being prevented. Do you know what polio is? Polio is an acute viral infectious disease that is spread from person to person, primarily via the fecal-oral route. It was one of the most dreadful childhood diseases of the 20th century. It can cause muscle weakness and paralysis as well as death, and occurs mostly in young children. The vaccine was developed in the 1950s and has since reduced the global number of cases from many hundreds of thousands to under 1,000 known cases today. Considering there are about 7 billion people in the world, under 1,000 is pretty great. How about pertussis? It is actually making a little bit of a comeback in northern United States. Possibly another result from the decision not to vaccinate. But this disease is basically proof that when you stop vaccinating, the diseases can come back. Pertussis is a highly contagious bacterial disease caused by Bordetella pertussis. Beginning symptoms are mild, but will eventually develop into severe coughing fit, which in turn will produce a high-pitched whoop when an infected child intakes air after coughing. The cough can last around 6 weeks. It can be treated with antibiotics, but with only small benefit to the person infected. It seems the antibiotics only help shorten the duration by a little, but not the intensity. Pertussis currently affects 42.5 million people yearly, with about 295,000 resulting in death. Vaccines are effective, and in 2002, over 500,000 lives were saved due to being immunized. The scariest disease to me is meningitis. It is the inflammation of the protective membranes covering the brain and the spinal cord. It is considered life-threatening due to how close the information is to the brain and the spinal cord. You have to be tested for it, and if it comes back positive, it will be considered a medical emergency. There is a high mortality rate if it's left untreated. You can help prevent meningitis by getting the Hib vaccine. The Hib has practically eliminated this pathogen as a cause of meningitis in young children. Since the introduction of the Hib vaccine in December of 1987, the incidence of meningitis has been declined by 98%. It went from about 600 fatal cases to under 10. To me, the answer is clear. I would rather have my children vaccinated than to take the chance of them possibly having to suffer through one of these terrible preventable diseases, especially since they all could lead to death. This little thing right here could help save your child's life. Thank you.